Hardwood Convos podcast. He acts like this is a bad thing. He's not the one that has
getting away with this. He can't keep getting away with this.
Brock, I am praying that somehow, some way, Paulo and Franz can figure it out offensively.
Why do you think I'm trying? Why do you think I'm trying to curse them by playing the one song that literally ruined their season when we played it last on this podcast?
I hope it reverses the curse.
I hope.
Oh, that's what that did.
It's all right.
Oh man,
dude. Honestly, I again, the fact that Boston even won last year, I know that they were favored just because that Warriors run a couple years ago really took so much out of me that like I was like, it's never gonna happen. Like that's it. And so like last year when they just destroyed the Mavs in the finals and like the final buzzer hit and the confetti's falling and Jason Tatum's being cringe, I was just like, we finally did it. Like that guy that like took like a beating for 10 rounds and somehow still won, and they're like gushing blood, and you're just like, yeah. We
can go home now.
Yeah, that's literally my mindset going into this playoffs. But welcome to the Hardwood Convos podcast here on the 515 Podcast Network. I'm Brock Bierman alongside, as always, Dawson, Livingston, and Hunter Rose. We're going to talk some NBA hoops here. NBA playoffs gets rolling this weekend. We're recording here on a Wednesday. This show will probably be up either Thursday afternoon or Friday morning. My guess would be Friday morning. And even then, I think we still have some play-in games that will be going on during then. We can talk a little bit about the play-in, whether or not that will actually impact the playoffs. We can get into that as well. We'll talk about, the last couple weeks of the season, as well as some other news in the NBA. And overall, just give our thoughts heading into the postseason play. I think that this is shaping up to be one of the better NBA playoff, just overall bracket built, structured, and everything with teams in recent memory. So, Dawson, Hunter, how are we doing? Obviously, that's how we start every episode. How are we feeling heading into the NBA postseason?
Feel fantastic. I feel great. Number 1 seed locked up, waiting on who we get to play. I think the 9-10 games tonight of Bulls and Heat. And then what is it? Friday is the other, Thursday is the other, where the 8 seeds on the line. Mm-hmm. But no, I feel good right now. Life is good.
I mean, yeah, you can't really complain as an Atlanta Hawks. Cleveland Cavaliers fan right now, but Hunter,
yeah, dude, Brock's pressing some buttons right now, dude. I hope Boston gets swept in round 1. I know it would never happen, but you're really pressing some buttons.
We're gonna get Dawson the cuss by the end of this.
No, you're not.
Hunter,
nope, I'm clean.
How are you feeling? I mean, let's be honest. Me personally, I don't know how you feel about this, but towards the end of November, I was worried that we would even be talking about the Milwaukee Bucks in the playoffs. But they made it, and they actually, in my opinion, have been one of the better teams heading into the playoffs as well.
I'm ready to be heartbroken.
So never mind on everything.
That means hopes are high, and I know we're gonna crash down so fast. All thanks to Glenn Rivers and Kyle Kuzma. Thank you, Lord, for these blessings bestowed upon us.
Hey, I mean, Kyle Kuzma can finally hit that level that everybody thought he would.
Better than Tatum.
I'm still waiting for that.
Yeah. I just can't believe the Bucks really saw 2 other teams fire their head coach and didn't at least, consider the thought like, hey guys, maybe, just maybe we could dabble in some of that activity. Who knows, man?
Oh man.
But no.
Let's get into that. within the past week and a half since we last did our podcast here on the 515 Podcast Network, two teams, two of them who, like, usually you see coaches getting fired around this time. Wouldn't be shocked if you see even more in the next couple days, depending on teams and where they're kind of heading in terms of franchise, whether they're rebuilding, buying, whatever. But two teams that I thought had good futures and a good coaches as well, decided to get rid of them. Of course, I'm talking about Memphis firing their coach, as well as the Denver Nuggets, who just won a championship a couple years back. Both of these caught all three of us off guard. Which one, though, shocked you the most?
I would probably say the Malone one, because Denver has like real title aspirations, if that makes sense. Like, it wouldn't be a shock if they won the title this year. Granted, I don't really trust their bench, but they still have Nikola Jokic. You still have to take them seriously. And them firing Malone with 3 games left in the regular season, or 4 games left, was pretty shocking. I know they also canned the GM too, and they said the relationship between those two was pretty toxic, but we'll see. We'll see if is it Rick Adelman or Dave Adelman is the interim coach? One of them's the dad that's like a Hall of Fame head coach, and the other one's the son. I get the names flip-flopped all the time, but yeah, that one's definitely shocking. The
David.
Memphis one, it's Dave. Okay.
David.
So Dave Adelman's coaching the Nuggets the rest of the season.
David
Adelman, sorry. On me. But the Memphis one, I mean, that one's a little shocking as well, because like Jenkins, I think, is the all-time winningest coach in Grizzlies history, and I would say that their issues aren't coaching related, if that makes sense. I think they have a jaw issue more than they do a coaching issue, and I like the rest of the roster, so it didn't really make much sense to me when they ended up canning him. But yeah, I think the Nuggets one is certainly more shocking.
I think I would probably lean more towards the Grizzlies firing Jenkins. Mostly just because of, like, I think patience-wise. I mean, you have to consider, obviously they fired him this season. They did not fire him last season. Last season would have been even more of a shock, but I think just overall, like, seeing like him being able to build a relationship, especially with a lot of their young players, was probably important. Granted, nobody's going to know for certain how the relationship is between a coach and his players, probably until the players like actually like out of the league. But I think a lot of it's just like the Grizzlies were kind of struggling probably against, a lot of the games that are probably the most important against teams that are, good. But in general, it's like to have as young of a team as they have to then be like, well, I guess we'll throw in the towel here this close to the playoffs, just is kind of funky to me. And especially with I don't think he was that bad at coaching by any means. I don't think that's the problem in Memphis had to do with coaching. That's just me from the outside looking in. But I think that kind of was like just weird. And it was just out of the blue on a random afternoon. It was like, what? But yeah, Mike Malone being fired definitely was, especially even closer to the postseason, was really, really weird. It's like, why would you not stick it out, lose the series, and then be like the very next day, be like, all right, let's get him out of here. But
yeah, I don't really understand either firing. Like Hunter mentioned, until a player is pretty much out of the league, you don't really learn that much about their relationships with their coaches till they create, their podcasts that everyone has, which is funny because we're talking on a podcast right now, trashing people that everybody has a podcast, which they probably get way more
unoriginal.
Way more. Yeah, they get way more listeners than we probably do. But anyways,
anywho,
both of them shock me. I also agree with Dawson that Memphis has a jaw issue, and I'm not really sure. I think that's a discussion that we can have probably in the offseason. What Memphis, yeah. For those that don't know what Hunter and Dawson were doing, they were doing the grenade celebration. I feel like that's a conversation that we can have in the offseason about the future with Memphis and Ja Morant, or just the future of Ja Morant in general, because he's had a heck of a 24 months as an NBA player, to say the least. And I don't know. I feel bad for Taylor Jenkins. Historically, is like stats wise, is going to be Memphis's best coach, I guess, that they've had. And their roster was okay. I don't know if it was ever going to reach the potential of like championship stardom, but like that also doesn't mean that you have to fire your coach. It's not the reason that the GM is the one that also helps put together the team. The Malone situation is the one that confuses me a little bit, because I swear, and I sent this in the chat, our group chat, when this firing of Malone in Denver, happened. I swear a couple years ago, he was like considered the next all-time great head coach in NBA history. Like everybody was talking about him after their championship run in Denver, how it's going to be a dynasty. Like I literally think I remember hearing people talking about how this is going to be a franchise to be reckoned with over the next 10 years. And granted, they're still competitive in a very, very difficult Western Conference. But the fact that you just fired your coach, if I'm a player on that team, you just fired him 3 days or 3 games before the NBA playoffs, I lose all hope or motivation. Because how am I supposed to completely buy into a new situation? Granted, interim head coach is coming from the organization anyways, but how are you supposed to buy into something like that a week and a half before the playoffs start?
Yeah. And especially like the situation, like just the West in general, like when it's that tight of a race between being in the top half of teams, like already in the playoffs, and being in the play-in, and you fire your coach is crazy. I mean, that's the situation both of them were in. Nuggets pushing it even closer to that deadline than the Grizzlies were. But it's like, what are you like? It doesn't matter, in my opinion, I guess. It doesn't matter if a coach has lost the locker room or never had it to begin with. Like Brock said, like you can't, like that's just insane.
I might be going out on a limb. I think there might be some franchises that are like, that have championship built rosters, but they're not quite sold on their coach this offseason. Like I'm talking like a 5 seed and up, and they might fire their coach this offseason, because I do believe Mike Malone is still a guy that could potentially take your team to that next level, because coaching's not as important in the NBA as it is in the NCAA. That's professionals, and I call them semi-professionals now because they get paid as much, if not more, than professionals. But they're also 18 to 22-year-olds playing college basketball. Coaching matters there a little bit more than the NBA, where LeBron goes, "No, this is my team."
I don't know, man. Did you see Monty Williams coach last year? Do you see the difference in the Pistons this year? You want to talk about coaching isn't that matter? Like, I get your point, but there's one-offs of like the Pistons last year where they win 16 games and then they have a almost 30 game increase in wins because of changing their coaches. Kind of like what the Cavs did last year. They had Bickerstaff. They weren't satisfied. They thought their offense needed to get to another level. They ended up firing him and hiring Kenny Atkinson, and their offense went from, I believe, like 13th in the league last year to first in the league this year. Sometimes you just need a culture reset. And for the Nuggets, I don't really know. Maybe they stick with David Adelman as their head coach next year. We'll see. I think the playoffs will determine a lot of that. Like if they get bounced around one by the Clippers, who knows if he's going to keep that job. But they make a second round, or if they even make the Thunder on upset watch, I mean, who knows? Maybe he'll keep the job. And I think the Nuggets issues are more roster based than they are coaching based. So,
I mean, I don't know why you're throwing shades at Monty Williams, who has made an NBA Finals before.
I saw the Pistons last year and saw him instantly get canned and saw him ruin a relationship with DeAndre Ayton in Phoenix. And now they went from Ayton to Nurkic, and then now that's Mason Plumlee starting at center.
If Doc Rivers can win an NBA Finals as a head coach,
that was almost 20 years ago. We got to let that one go. That was almost 20 years ago.
I'm just saying.
All right.
Blind squirrel can find a nut every once in a while.
Yeah, I guess. Why don't you ask Hunter about the Doc Rivers experiment?
I think he's gone if they don't make the finals.
If Giannis wins the finals, all right, we will be talking about Giannis winning the finals in spite of Doctavius Rivers being his head coach.
Doctavius.
We will.
I with the Bucks situation and Hunter Dawson, I've always been high on Giannis. I picked him as my MVP heading into this year and everything. This has a chance to be a run not similar in terms of who they've had to beat, but story-wise of having to take a team, put them on your back and win a championship. That Giannis has a chance to do something similar to Dirk Nowitzki in Dallas in 2011.
I like that comp. I feel like that's a fair comp. My only pushback would be is Dirk did that in the West.
Yep, and that's why it's added that clarifier of the competitiveness of where they would, or the competition of who they would have to play. Because I'm assuming if it was chalk, they would have to play Cleveland in the second round, Boston in the conference finals, and Oklahoma City in the finals. Which, I mean, if they beat Oklahoma City in the finals, I think that would obviously be huge. But this is that's what I kind of feel about Milwaukee's situation. I think if I had to put money on teams not named Boston in the Eastern Conference right now, and that's no offense to Cleveland, I just don't think this year specifically is the year for them. I would put my stock honestly in Milwaukee. But again, I've been on the Milwaukee hype train this whole year, and so far it has led to a 5 seed in the Eastern Conference. So take that with what you will. But looking at the overall structure, let's honestly start with the Eastern Conference, since I was just talking about Milwaukee. Cleveland got the 1 seed. I mean, hands down was the best team in the Eastern Conference in terms of consistency throughout the entire season. Boston's right behind them at the 2 seed. New York gets the 3 seed, and Indiana rounds up the top 4 with the 4 seed. Indiana will play the 5 seed in Milwaukee, like I mentioned earlier, in the first round, as well as New York will face the 6 seeded Detroit Pistons, and the Boston Celtics will play the play-in winner of the Orlando Magic. And then Cleveland will play the to-be-determined winner of the second play-in game between, I think it's going to end up being Miami and
hold on.
The Bulls have cut the lead or deficit to 14.
That's big.
It was 21 at one point. Wow, Tyler Hero has 31 points. Maybe they won't.
Fine. They will play either Miami, Chicago, or Atlanta.
Thank you.
The primary color for for all the teams are red, so they're going to play a team that their primary. Oh,
there are different shades. There are very different colors there. All right, come on.
God. No assumptions, Brock. No assumptions.
Teach this guy anything. Oh my god, dude.
What are your guys' early thoughts on the Eastern Conference matchups in the first round? And if you guys are, I guess we'll save our picks, but just overall early impressions in the first round for the Eastern Conference.
This New York and Detroit series, oh man, this is going to be a fun one.
It's going to be
talking about bringing back the 90s with like the Knicks had Ewing, they had Oakley, John Starks, all those guys and the Pistons with Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Bill Laimbeer, Mark Aguirre. Like, this is going to be a super physical, fun series of two teams that maybe the Knicks don't hate the Pistons as much, but I don't know if you guys saw, but the Pistons are restricting who can buy their tickets for the home game. You have to be either living in Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, or Canada. I think were the four options, if I'm not mistaken.
I love that they love their Canadians.
Yeah, I guess, because for whatever reason. But that is going to be a super fun playoff series. That one, I think New York's like a huge favorite to win, but I like Detroit a lot in this series. I'm not saying that's my pick yet, but I like Detroit a lot.
I think what's interesting between both the series between the Knicks and Detroit, and then with the Bucks and the Pacers, is that both teams that were the lower seed won the regular season series, which is very interesting because it's like that I don't know when the last time is that maybe that's more common than I would like to think, but I think the fact that both of them are, and especially thinking of like even not just like the matchup between these two teams, and even just like post All-Star break kind of vibes between each of these teams, where it's like I feel like a lot of Knicks fans compared to last year, they were much higher on their team last year than this year. Even though this year, like their team, it's the same team with Cat. Like all things aside, it is the same team with Cat with other upgrades within the starting lineup, presumably. Like,
but Cat's also playing his like one of his best seasons, if not his best season in his career.
Yeah,
exactly. But to see like Knicks fans that are just like, oh, like this team just isn't the same as last. Like it's just weird. Like it's not the same because arguably it's better. All stats aside, when talking about teams that are above 500 or teams that are in the top 3 within each conference, presumably on paper this team looks better. And when we get to the playoffs, a lot of times it's just a matter of like what's on paper. And then you have the Pistons, who I hate the Pistons. That is not a secret. But like you have their fans that are like, final, like it's about we're relevant again, you know, and everyone is excited from the city of Detroit. Seems like almost everyone in the city of New York is like, screw this team. We're coming back next year. We're gonna win it all then. It's like, bro, like you haven't even played a game yet. Like, what are you going on about? But
the Pistons have made 2 playoff appearances since 2009-2010 season. And
they played the Cavs in one of them.
Yep, 2015-16, and they also played the Bucks.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's right.
0-8.
Griffin won.
They're 0. No, let me rephrase that. They're 0-12 since 2008 and 2009. Their last series that they won was in the 2007-2008 playoffs, where they actually made the conference finals and ended up losing to the eventual NBA champs in the Celtics. But this is a different Pistons team than those 2 teams that made the playoffs in the 2010s, for sure, by far.
This honestly, team is like super deep. Like, yes, they have they have young guys and old guys that they can like depend on for like playoff minutes. Like
they have that edge.
Yeah,
they have that. Best, go ahead.
Their second best player is arguably Malik Beasley, but that would usually be a joke. But Malik Beasley, I know Hunter's pointing his thumb down, was one of 3 players this year to hit 300 plus threes, which is crazy impressive, considering like the only other guys to do that really are Curry in every year he's healthy, 1 Clay year, and I think a James Harden year. So
I've seen it before. Buddy likes to write checks that he can't cash. Did it last year. He gonna do it this year.
I just like this team because they play with a little bit of an edge that reminds me, not a ton, like it's not a carbon copy of those Pistons teams that have won championships in the late 80s, in the early 2000s, but like They have players that are not afraid, obviously, as we know, to get up in your face, tell you how they feel, maybe even push you or attack you completely. So this is not going to be the run-of-the-mill post-2010s NBA first-round game. The Pistons are, I feel like, and Tibbs is on the other side. If you think this is not going to be a very physical matchup in the first round, you guys, not you guys on our podcast, just the people have no idea what they're about to watch between the Pistons and the Knicks.
Can I say one point? I think the winner of this playoffs is Tobias Harris right now. We were all making fun of Tobias last year, making too much money.
I will still make fun of him.
Tobias made the right call to bolt out of Philadelphia. Now he's starting for the Pistons, right? I'm not talking out of my butt when I'm saying that, but
I would guess.
But yeah, and now Philly is literally praying that they can keep their pick this year in the lottery. So I said that.
Congrats to Tobias Harris. You're averaging the least amount of points in your career since your second year in Milwaukee, where you were averaging 5 points a game.
Hey, he's in a playoff rotation, and his previous team is not. They're sitting on the couch. They're sitting in Cancun right now with.
They're sitting in the podcast booth. All right.
Yeah,
they're right here.
Pandemic P.
I'm completely kidding, but yeah, I like this matchup. I think this is going to be the best matchup in the East for the first round for sure. In terms of like competitiveness, I expect this matchup to probably go 6 or 7 games. Now, New York has some playoff experience a little bit compared to Detroit. Even with the addition of Cat, they have even that experience with him playing in the playoffs, and he's played on the Western Conference side. I don't know if that gives him a bigger edge heading into this, but we'll see. Indiana and Milwaukee will be an interesting one. What is Hunter? Do you know what the update is with Dame? Is he supposed to come back?
He's pretty much like
he's out for.
I don't care what the Bucks say. I don't care what the coach says. He's gone. They're like, I'm not doing this again. I have done this for 3 years in a row. He is out for the series and the entire playoffs if they win. They can't keep getting away with this.
Don't let the Boston media fool you.
No, don't let them do it. It's so stupid. It makes me mad, man. Like, stop.
I wanted to get your opinion on it because I know a lot of people are like, there's a chance, and I'm like, it's a blood clot. How can you put a timetable on the return for that? So like, I just want to see.
Just play 5-on-4 defense and just have Dame sit in the corner and just.
That, like, the one thing that is at least good is that from the beginning, this is like the one thing that sticks out to me. From the beginning, when this was reported, it was reported that the blood clot was stabilized, which is like, that is a big deal. Like, if it were just like, oh, he has it, it'd be like, oh, yeah, no, he's gone. Like, there's no way. But the fact that it has been known and like has been treated since really even before, presumably before, like everybody knew about it, it at least does create like oh, you know, who knows, and like he's been at practices, like he's been doing stuff. I hate the Bucks. I hate this team so much.
Looking at this matchup between the Pacers and the Bucks, I guess the key asset for Milwaukee is that I think that they have one of, if not the best players in the league in Giannis Antetokounmpo, and he's made big plays when it matters most in postseason history. And then you got the Pacers, who had the most impressive sweep in terms of them being the losers in the sweep last year in the Eastern Conference Finals, where like every game was like one possession and somehow they still got swept. Can you guys see Indiana making a run again towards the conference finals this season? Or was that kind of similar to Atlanta, who's in the play-in game this year, where it was a one shiny moment kind of thing, and it's going to be hard for them to ever get back there?
I would say there's absolutely no way they make it back, because they have to be. I don't even remember the playoffs. Don't they have to probably beat they'd have to beat the Caps. That's not happening. That's just not happening. I'll say it right now. It won't.
I'm knocking on wood as a Caps fan. I have to.
I as a Bucks fan, I'd like to think the Bucks would have a shot against the Cavs. Is that
I think
shot
they have a better shot than Indiana.
Exactly. I do not see that. There's just no way. I don't see it happening.
Indiana's problem is I don't think they know how to close games. Like that was their issue last year when playing Boston in the conference finals, is they would get to these like close 3 or 4 point games with a few minutes to go and wouldn't close it correctly, or just would do something really stupid at the end that would cost them. So I would like to think that gives the edge to the Bucks in this series because they have a guy that they can like, even though Giannis isn't a great free throw shooter, Giannis is like one of the most unstoppable players when he's going to the basket, and he shoots good enough from free throws that it's not like he's a total liability out there. But it's going to be like true 2018 LeBron type carry that LeBron or Giannis is gonna have to do to get the Bucks to like the conference finals or the finals, in my opinion.
Yeah, Pacers are a weird roster for me. Like they got some good guys, but like I don't know if there's one of them. Like Tyrese Halliburton's a great player, but like I don't know if he is like the guy that can take them over the top. Pascal does have championship. Does have a championship. I was about to say championship DNA. I don't know if you can really say that. Being on a team with Kawhi carrying you, it gives you championship DNA. But I if I'm Cleveland, I'm praying that Milwaukee loses, or in the very least, like Indiana runs at the 7, so Giannis is absolutely gassed. But I'll be interested when we get into our picks to hear what you guys think on that. And then the last 2 matchups in the Eastern Conference, I don't know if we need to hit on as much in terms of matchup wise the potential matchups between Cleveland and the 3 teams still competing for a play-in spot. But I think Cleveland will be able to handle business. They've been able to handle business against teams that were not that good this year. Any thoughts, Dawson? Is there a team out of the 3 that, I guess it's, can I please just say it's between Miami and no, it's between Miami and Atlanta. I'm sorry. That's the 2 teams you're allowed to talk on.
Nope, dude.
If you start talking
I really
about,
want Chicago to pull this off because I want to play Chicago out of any of these teams. I don't really have a preference of who they play. I will say this. Cleveland did lose the season series to Atlanta. They lost 2 goofy games back in November, like a back-to-back. So that's something. But like, I think at this point in the season, I think Cleveland's going to be fine. Although can't count out the Bulls because they're only down 17 with 7 minutes to go. So you can't count them out yet.
We've seen bigger. We've seen bigger.
Yeah.
Whatever. What are your guys' thoughts on the Celtics defending champions heading into this season? Obviously, my expectation, and any fan of a top 2 seed in the NBA should have the expectation that the championship should be within reach. And as defending champs, and not much has been changed of the roster, expectations should remain the same. So I'm interested to hear what your guys' thoughts from 1, a hater's perspective, and 2, the outside perspective in general.
I hate Boston so much. Hate every player on that team. I hate Peyton Pritchard. Hate Derek White. Galen Brown's okay. Jason Tatum, can't stand him. But no. In all seriousness, they're not going to have any issues in round 1. They might drop a goofy like game 1 or game 2, but
hey, they did lose 96-76 against Orlando.
You only scored 76 against Orlando.
You want to know who the starting lineup was?
Let's hear it.
Baylor Shireman, Torrey Craig, Sam Hauser, Luke Cornett, and Peyton Pritchard. Xavier Tillman, Miles Norris, Drew Peterson, Keita, and J.D. Davidson. G League MVP J.D. Davidson played, and he put up a whopping 0 points, going 0 for 6 from the field.
When was this game?
Like literally a week and a half ago. One of the last 3 games. They do have an injury issue. Jaylen Brown does not look right.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the thing that holds them back heading into the season, to the series against Orlando.
Again, though, they might drop a game, but you're out of your mind if you don't think Boston wins this in 5.
Yep.
Like, or 5 or 4. Like I wouldn't be shocked if they just steamroll, because Orlando just doesn't know how to like. They go through these stretches where it is painful to watch their offense. I am a Hawk fan. I know what it's like to watch painful offense. That's what it's like last night, watching their playing game was an exception. They were hitting threes. They were passing out. Wendell Carter had a great game. Corey Joseph had a great game. But the usual is the Magic just struggle to score the ball. And I just don't see them being able to beat Boston in any series. So
I'm not going to talk to give you the satisfaction. That's my opinion as a hater.
Also, the Bulls are down 20 now.
No, there's just like, can we just call it? Like, please, like this is just stupid.
Just have the Celtics move on.
There's just like overall, this is less about the Celtics series, to be honest, but it does speak into it a little bit. Like, I'm not a hater of the play-in. The East play-in was not needed.
No,
it just wasn't.
Just the West.
It really was not needed whatsoever. Yep. We're wasting our time. Like, it's just like, all right, who wants to go to the chainsaw? Like that's what's happened. Like, who wants to send to the butcher's house first? Like, nobody.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail, bring out the dead.
Yeah, they are bringing out all the dead. It's like, oh, we're gonna win, and then it's like, you've won. Like, shotgun to the face, like that surprise. Good luck. Like it's just double barrel right between the eyes as you're receiving your play-in trophy. Like, just there's no sense.
Wait, is there a trophy for the play-in?
No, that'd be
there should be. There should be.
Awesome.
Yes,
the trophy is
7-seed trophy. Give me the 7-seed trophy.
The trophy is you get to play Boston.
Adam
or
Silver.
The Cavs.
I have figured out how to fix the ratings in the NBA.
But yeah.
Soon enough, we're gonna have a trophy for every playoff series. We're gonna have one for the quarterfinals and the semifinals and the conference finals and then the finals.
The winner of the Eastern Conference first round matchup MVP between the 1 and 8 seed is
Max Strus.
Your most improved player of the 4-5 seed game is
Kyle Kuzma.
Best performance for a losing player.
Oh gosh.
So let's get over to the West. We got about 20 minutes left in this episode. We'll kind of hammer through some of these. Do we need to talk about Oklahoma City versus whoever gets into the 8th seed?
I don't know, man. The Kings light the beam. Who knows? I'm kidding. No, we don't.
Okay. Do you guys think it's a sweep?
Yeah.
I don't know about a sweep, but it'll be OKC.
Okay. Because it's what, between Memphis, the Kings, and the Mavs?
Yeah.
I guess if it's Memphis could win a game or two.
Yeah.
But if it's the Kings or the Mavs, like, no, they don't have a chance.
Going from that, I guess for those that don't know, Oklahoma City has the number 1 overall seed in general. They have the best record in the league, followed by the 2-seeded Houston Rockets. They will play the 7-seeded Golden State Warriors, who won last night in the play-in. The 3-seeded Lakers will face the 6-seeded Timberwolves. The 4-seeded Nuggets will face the 5-seeded Los Angeles Clippers, who have, at the moment of this recording, Kawhi Leonard in their roster or rotation. So who knows how long that will actually last. But let's start with that Nuggets and Clippers matchup, because I think that one, well, all of these are actually really intriguing compared to the Eastern Conference. Eastern Conference, in my opinion, it's Knicks and Pistons. Outside of that, I'm not really interested in terms of matchups. All 3 of these set matchups, as we're recording here on a Wednesday, I really like. Nuggets and Clippers. What are you guys thinking? Because obviously Malone got fired from Denver. I think statistically, or just looking at everything, the Clippers are like one of the hottest teams heading into the postseason. But you got to remember who's on their roster when you're talking postseason basketball. So, what are your guys' thoughts on this matchup?
Death, taxes, and the LA Clippers are back talks in the month of April. Like, I swear, like, it's every year. It's like, oh, like, did they figure it out this time? Like, they might have. And then we once again, I can't say the quote, but iconic song lyric of some people get something and get sent home early like the Clippers, because it happens every single year. But in this case, I like the Clippers odds for once, because to be honest, like, the biggest thing I think for the Nuggets, besides having not their head coach as their head coach, is Jamal Murray, because that dude kind of has been missing a little bit. It seems like I think in the playoffs, like this is when people like Jamal Murray ever since the bubble. It's like Jamal Murray, can he basically be the 1A that no, or the 1B, sorry, that kind of Nikola Jokic might need as a scorer. And this year it just has seemed a little rocky at times. And so I think it's just the biggest thing. Again, like Brock said, like, when you have James Harden on your basketball team in the playoffs, like, dude, do you want to win? Like,
don't, like, he's won MVPs, all that stuff, but like, you don't get labeled bad playoff performer unless you have done it on a consistent basis. Yeah. So it's hard to be confident in a team that has James Harden as their leading scorer and be like, oh, they can win. But I also think they match up really well against Denver. You mentioned Jamal Murray's kind of been a little bit of a wild card for them. He's not a huge player in terms of stats, stardom, or anything, but Zubac has been a really good defender.
In terms of the West, Zubac is arguably like a top 3 center.
Exactly.
Like, that's an actual conversation that exists.
Yeah.
If you're gonna pick a team to beat Denver in the first round, or at least hopefully hold Jokic to a little bit lower of stats, performances, and all that, Zubac is your guy. And so, personally, I like the Clippers going into this matchup. Dawson, I don't know what you think.
On March 5th, the Clippers were sitting at 33-29, and since then they closed their season on a, let me get my numbers right, 17-3 run in their last 20 games. They've been playing great basketball as of late. Yes, there's the Harden piece that Harden always chokes in the playoffs. There's got to be a series or a run eventually where he doesn't choke in the playoffs, if that makes sense. Like, eventually he won't be terrible, is my thinking. I really like the Clippers in this one. Like, Zubac is playing really well. I think he gives Jokic some issues because Zubac is just a hard guy to match up for. Kawhi, I mean, I'm knocking on wood because healthy Kawhi in the playoffs is super fun to watch. I mean, really the last deep playoff run he was on was with that 2020 bubble team where they lost to the Nuggets, funny enough. But, yeah, I really like the Clippers in this one.
I know I said that coaches aren't a huge asset in the NBA compared to the college level, but this might be one where like they actually do matter in this matchup. So we'll see what we have on our picks. After that, Rockets Warriors 2-7. What do you guys think? Real quick here.
I don't want to talk about Jimmy Butler anymore, man. Tired of this. I hate this guy. I
think the Rockets are the
epitome of skipping work and then be like, guys, look at what I did. Like, we made it. I hate him so much. Almost as much as I hate the Bucks.
Who is he? Is he your least favorite player?
He might be, man. Like, it's just annoying. He's not even in my conference and he annoys me. It's like, how do you keep doing this? Like,
you got to admit the trade did end up working out for Golden State.
Yeah.
I don't have to admit to anything.
All right.
don't-
I think the Rockets, with how competitive this Western
Yeah.
Conference is like one of the weirdest 2 seeds in recent memory.
Doesn't like they're good though.
Yes,
like, they are.
It just
good.
doesn't make sense. Like no one, I don't think. Like
Mhm.
it's kind of like you're looking at this. You're like, oh, Nuggets are back. Clippers are gonna face them in the first round. Lakers and Timberwolves. Wait, why does that say Rockets are the 2
Does that
seed in
say
Golden
the
State?
Houston Rockets?
No, it's not that. It says Rockets versus Warriors. It says that the Rockets are the 2 seed. What?
Yeah.
So that's
Doesn't-
what. Yeah.
Doesn't this remind you? I think it was 2 years ago of Grizzlies Lakers when the Grizzlies were the 2 seed, and everyone was like, "Are we really think the Grizzlies are going to win this series?" And what LA won that in, was it 6 games, 5 games, something like that. But it kind of gives me that vibe where it's like no one really believes in the Rockets because we all just default to the Warriors championship experience when it's literally just Steph and Draymond that get minutes in that. Because they bench Kuminga, he doesn't do anything anymore. Moody didn't even play in the 22 finals run. I mean, so I don't know what Hunter thinks.
Do you know who was on the Grizzlies roster when they played the Lakers?
Mr. Dylan Brooks. Mr. Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks has a
But-
chance to do the funniest thing here.
I don't know where you guys lean. I like the Rockets in this series. And I know that's the underdog, but I don't know. I think Houston just has a lot of like
Are they
wings that they
officially
could
the
throw-
underdog?
yeah, they are. To win the series, I think they
Okay.
I'll back check myself, but I thought they were. But
Okay.
Houston's got so many wings to throw at Curry. Amin Thompson's been playing really well, and then Tari Eason can come off the bench and just play for 20 minutes and lock down Curry. I think that just gives the Warriors a lot of fits. So I like the Rockets in this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll get into my reasoning when we give our picks. Hunter, do you have anything?
I think, man, I want the Rockets to win so bad. Like I really want the Rockets to win so bad. And I think the thing is like the Rockets can compete with anybody in the West. Do I think they're gonna win it? No. Do I have them as a contender? Honestly, no. But like they are a team that I think could beat, like actually beat any team in a series, and that includes the Thunder. To be honest, like I think they can do well. Do I think they actually will? I don't know. That's up in the air. But it's like they just have they have the length, they have the athleticism, they just have it to where they can match up. I think anywhere. I also do not know who's going to be the playoff riser because as we've seen, like you need somebody to step up. And I think everyone's going to default to Jalen Green. And like back in January, like right before the All-Star break, yeah, he was playing really good. But it's like they're like his inefficiency could be the death of them if they need someone to rise up. And
Stop me if you heard this before of a Houston basketball team that wears red that no one really thinks is like elite. There's no star players. They're always wondering where they are at in the rankings. And everybody's like, well, if they're going to make a run in their whatever tournament it may be, who's going to be the guy that steps up for them? I feel like we just saw that recently. Granted, didn't end well for that said Houston team that I'm referring to, but well, it ended well in terms of how far they actually went. They defied a lot of people's expectations, but that's kind of how I see this Houston team heading into the playoffs.
We have to have a moment of silence for the Chicago Bulls season in front of the pod, Braden. They officially lost by 19 points. So
okay, so now I need your pick, Houston. I mean, Miami or Atlanta. I'm kidding. You already kind of said that.
Yeah. But yeah, I figured I had to throw that one out there.
Did you find out if Houston's
Yeah.
actually a dog?
Houston is the series dog.
Oh, that's
Houston is
interesting.
Golden State's minus 180. Houston is plus
That's a
150
rat
to win the
line,
series.
people. That's a rat line.
The thing is, like, the Warriors have been so good.
They
like,
have.
it's crazy. Now, what's even wilder is the fact how good they played, and they ended up in the play-in. All right, now
Right.
that's crazy. But like, that's why I think that's why this is so hard because like both of you have mentioned, like like this is the Rockets in this playoff in the West in general. They're the new kid on the block. Even the Thunder, they aren't the new kids on the block anymore. They're running the block. But the Rockets were not here a year ago. Granted, they tried making a push. There were a few moments where everyone was like, "Oh dang, like this team looks really, really, really good." But like now they are, like Dawson said earlier with the Grizzlies a few years ago, like they are that new kid on the block, and they're going against a team that, even though different than a few years ago, won it all a few years ago, and we're a dynasty for the longest time, and still have the one kid that almost had another point guard who guarded him almost basically die in a playoff series because of how hard he was going. Like it just is. It's hard to be like, well, they're the 2 seed, so clearly they should win when their matchup is that. I just don't get it.
Well said.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if you guys have them making a run or not, or one of these teams making a run from that. I don't know. LA Lakers Timberwolves. It's going to be a really good competitive battle between LeBron and Anthony Edwards, or just the Lakers and Timberwolves in general, because I think both rosters have some good guys. Interesting to see that the Knicks are, again, Eastern Conference versus Western Conference is really hard to compare, obviously. But the Knicks had a really good season without Julius Randle and, in my opinion, improved. The Timberwolves, on the other end, I feel like didn't have as good of a season of what they may have expected. However, I am starting to think that they are a sleeping giant waiting to be like woken up. So what are your guys' thoughts on the Lakers? And then you got the Lakers, Luka, LeBron, first time in the playoffs as teammates. I mean, they've had some ups, they've had some downs. Can the rest of the team stay healthy? Who are they going to be able to rely on outside of those 2 players? What do you guys think about these 2 heading into the playoffs?
The Lakers are going to make Rudy Gobert look like Hakeem Olajuwon in this series because of just the lack of center play that they have. Like them still playing Jackson Hayes as many minutes as he gets is probably going to be the fault of them. That Mark Williams trade will probably haunt them for the rest of the playoffs, the rest of the offseason, and going into next year. Because Mark Williams, while he's not like a great defender, he's someone. He's a body that you could put down there. No offense to Jackson Hayes. He is just running dunk man. But he's garbage. He knows how to catch lobs from Luka, but that's it. So I still like the Lakers in the series.
He's Timu DeAndre Jordan.
Timu DeAndre Jordan. Walmart Timu DeAndre Jordan.
Walmart Timu. That's Goodwill.
No, because Timu DeAndre Jordan's like Jared Allen right now. Because
I think Jared Allen might be a little better.
I like Jared Allen, but Jared Allen, I mean, he is defense and he is lob. That is it. Okay. He is not creating shot. But
Hunter, who do you got? Or I guess, like, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
Man, I already know my finals pick.
Yeah,
it involves one of these teams, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah. All right. Put the bias away when we make our picks.
Bias away. Dawson, you sent me your playoff predictions. You can shut your mouth about your bias picks.
I've seen.
Hey, I try to be objective. I'm gonna put my hands up so that way you can't.
I've seen the script. It's not looking good.
Oh yeah, because I forgot this trade ended your support for anything related to the Lakers.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just get into it. All right. So how do we want to do this? Do we want to like say our picks round for round and then we can lead up to the finals and then we can give our finals picks or whatever? Or how do we want to do this?
Good either way.
Yeah.
I'll wear my round.
Okay. So yeah, we'll have it lead up to the final. So Dawson, give us your entire Eastern Conference predictions, and then Hunter will give your Eastern Conference predictions, and then we'll do Western Conference and so on. But 4-minute warning.
Yeah, I'll make this quick. I have the Cavs winning. I have the Bucks over the Pacers, Pistons over the Knicks, and Celtics over the Magic.
And then go all
Western
the way to
Conference?
the finals.
Oh.
Yeah,
Or just
all
the-
Eastern.
Oh, I have the Cavs over the Bucks, Celtics over the Pistons, and Cavs over the Celtics. And then the
So he's got
West.
Cleveland into the finals. Hunter, who
Yeah.
do you got?
I have the Cavs winning. I have the Bucks winning. I have the Knicks winning. I have the Celtics winning. Then I have the Bucks winning. Then I have the Celtics winning. And I have the Celtics winning to make it to the finals again.
Okay, that's funny that you should mention that. I have the Cavs winning. I have the Bucks winning. I have the Knicks winning, and I have the Celtics winning. I have the Celtics winning against the Knicks, and then I have the Bucks beating the Cavs, and then I have the Celtics beating the Bucks. So both Hunter and I have the Celtics in the finals. Dawson has Cleveland in the finals from the Eastern Conference. All three of us have Boston and Cleveland in the Eastern Conference finals. So odds are one of those teams is not making the conference finals.
Yeah.
So Western Conference, Dawson, who do you got?
I have the Thunder over whoever they play. I have the Clippers over the Nuggets, the Lakers over the Wolves, and the Rockets over the Warriors. And then Thunder over the Clippers, Lakers over the Rockets, and then in the conference finals, I have the Lakers over the Thunder.
Hunter, don't do it to me.
I have the Thunder winning. I have the Clippers winning. I have the Lakers winning. And I have the Warriors winning. And then I have the Thunder winning. And then I have the Lakers winning. And then I have the Lakers winning.
I like the monotone that he's
This
just
is
keeping.
depressing.
Oh God. So what was your first round again?
So I have the Thunder and the Clippers playing like in the next round.
Yep.
And then I have the Lakers and the Warriors playing in the next round.
I have the Thunder
like
winning.
Yeah.
I have the Clippers winning. I have the Lakers winning. And I have the Warriors winning. I have the Thunder winning. And I have the Lakers winning. But I have the Thunder winning against the Lakers to set up Boston versus Oklahoma City in the finals. So Dawson has Cleveland versus the Lakers. Go figure, for a Cleveland fan and a I don't know if I can say that word on this podcast. I'll
No,
say it to you
probably
guys
not.
after the podcast.
Probably not.
Something that refers to people that really like LeBron. So he has the Cavs and the Lakers in the finals. Hunter has the Celtics and the Lakers. I mean, it hasn't happened for a while, so Hunter's been talking about the script, so it was bound to happen. And then I have the Celtics and the Thunder in the finals. Championship picks, Dawson, who do you have between the Cavs and the Lakers? I wonder who.
Go figure. It's the Cavs. The Cavs are beating the Lakers.
How many games?
6.
Huh. Okay, Hunter. I think I know who he's going with.
I have the Lakers in 7.
Yep.
Oh, wow. This is not where I
thought
thought you were going.
I thought that's where he was going.
I did not think that.
I literally have changed this pick like every morning. And this was, I think, my finals matchup heading into the season. And I said Boston would win, so I'm probably going to just stick with Boston. I do think that if these two teams face in the NBA Finals, that it will go 7 games. I don't think it'll be – if it goes any less than 7, like I think Oklahoma City probably ends up winning it, just because I don't know. There. I don't know. I got Boston winning it though. So Dawson has the Cavs winning the finals against the Lakers. What a snooze fest of a finals. Hunter has
Get
the
outta
Lakers beating the Celtics, which Hunter, if you know me, that literally would be worse than Iowa winning the national championship in college football.
You know, if the Cavs don't end up winning it all, I would be okay with that result. The Lakers.
Of course you would.
Yeah. Just for the pure torture.
So badly almost. I almost said it, but I held myself. Okay. And then I got the Celtics over the Thunder. So we'll see what happens. We'll be back next week to recap some of the first couple matchups. It'll be interesting to see because I don't think they do any dead time. Like there's no days where there aren't games, right?
No, there's just like yeah. Basically,
So,
we like are rolling by Friday.
Yeah, so we'll be we'll have to figure that out. But for Dawson Livingston and Hunter Rose, I'm Brock Bierman. Hunter is just depressed.
Playoff basketball, yay!
We'll see everybody next week. Make sure to tune into the Sports Nerds or the 515 Sports Podcast here on the 515 Podcast Network. We appreciate all your support, and we'll see you next week.